In this short video presentation, I'm going to talk about different types of writing systems. One way of classifying writing systems, according to Kolmas, Florian Kolmas, a famous linguist who focuses his research on writing, is by the level of linguistic analysis to which their basic functional units relate. So let's look at what this means. One way of classifying writing systems is by the level of linguistic analysis, the analysis that their functional units are doing. Are the functional units analyzing sound? Are the functional units analyzing meaning? Are the functional units analyzing syllables, etc.? We can group some writing systems as alphabets because their functional units, the letters, are products of analyzing the individual sound segments to a significant degree. So there are four different types of writing systems, four main classifications rather of writing systems, and we're going to talk about each in turn. Logographic systems, syllabic systems, alphabetic systems, and consonantal alphabetic systems. I think you could perhaps take a second now and think about, from what you know of each, what level of linguistic analysis the functional units of each of these systems relates to. That is, what does each character or each symbol in one of these systems correspond to? Logographic writing systems, such as Chinese, represent the morphemes or words through single characters. The basic functional units are interpreted as words in logographic systems. They may have some encoding of the sound in the form of radicals, as I mentioned in the previous video, but sound is not as systematically encoded as it is in other systems. Each symbol has a meaning. You can't say the same thing about a letter. Not every letter has a meaning on its own. It's connected to a sound. It corresponds to one or more sounds, but it doesn't have a meaning in the same way that a logographic symbol does. Kolmas suggests that the alternative term for logographic, ideographic, is misleading because it's doubtful that there ever was a writing system that expressed ideas as the word ideographic would seem to suggest. Logographic systems often began as pictographic, with the representation of the concept in a picture being more important than the consistency of the line. That is, you could have 7 or 8 different things, 7 or 8 different pictographs that all looked like cows, and they were all okay. As the system emerges, standardization of different signs began to happen, or recognition of some lines as being important and not others began to happen. So these different pictures of cows tended to become more similar. These different pictographs tended to, some of them were rejected, some of them were accepted, some of them were simple and simplified. And eventually, a heavily stylized, simpler to produce picture emerged. And this was more efficient. But in doing so, it might have lost the pictorial quality. It might not look as much like a cow anymore. But anybody who knows the writing system would know that when 2 lines branch out in specific directions and then come together in a circle, it was a symbol of a cow and the cow's horns, and therefore that symbol represented a cow. Over time, even that pictorial element might be forgotten entirely. It's now the character that means cow, regardless of what it looks like. I hope that makes sense. The pictures eventually became symbols. They might have lost the quality of representation as a picture, but they retained the connection to the meaning. Kolmas explains it this way. Differentiation thus becomes the principal design feature of the signs. For example, that the sign of a bull resembles a bull is now less important than that it differs from the sign of a cow. As we move forward in time, and we move from left to right in the columns above, we can see the pictorial quality of the sign becoming less and less significant. Syllabic systems, such as that used by the Cree, represent syllables through single characters, in which consonants and vowels are combined as one symbol. Sound is more carefully encoded than in logographic systems, but is not a product of analysis at the level of the sound segment as with an alphabet. More characters are necessary than in alphabetic systems, as each combination of sounds must be represented as a character. Think of it this way. If your language only had 5 consonants and 5 vowels, in an alphabet you'd need 10 symbols. In a syllabic system, you probably need 25, one for each combination of consonant and vowel. Coolmus defines a syllable as a unit of speech that can be articulated in isolation and bear a single degree of stress, as in English, or a single tone, as in Chinese. This is a broad definition, but it allows for a wide range of different types of syllables that different languages allow and mark as such. Many languages allow only a limited range of syllables. Hawaiian syllable structure is optional consonant, vowel, optional vowel. So you could have a syllable with a consonant, a syllable with just a vowel, a syllable with a consonant and a vowel, or a syllable with a consonant, a vowel, and a vowel. That's not a wide range of different types of syllables. English allows syllables such as in the word strength, where you have a consonant, a consonant, a consonant, a vowel, a consonant, and another consonant. And you can probably think of strengths. There's one. Strengths would have 3 consonants, a vowel, and 3 consonants. This means that Hawaiian has a much smaller number of syllables, but words become increasingly longer. As my daughter likes to remind me, the name for Hawaii's state fish is Humu Humu Nuku Nuku Kuapuawa. That's quite a long word, but languages with fewer different types of syllables end up having longer words. Other languages, like English, allow for a wider range of syllables, with consonant clusters at both the beginning and the end of words. The more complex the syllable structure of a language, the more unwieldy a syllabic system would become. Most syllabaries have fewer signs than logographic systems. Hiragana and Katakana, 2 different syllabaries used in Japan, have fewer signs than the Chinese base writing system, also used in Japan. With alphabets, the basic functional unit are interpreted as speech segments. The consonants and vowels are represented as separate symbols. The sound is even more closely encoded than in any of the other scripts. Some alphabetic systems are very transparent or shallow, sticking close to the one letter, one sound principle. Others are opaque or deep, where one letter can have more than one sound, and one sound can be represented with more than one letter. The English orthography is actually quite an opaque alphabet. While alphabets appear to represent the individual phonemes, no alphabet actually accomplishes this goal with complete accuracy. No alphabet has a one-to-one match between phonemes and graphemes, or rather, between the meaningful sounds and the symbols used to represent them. And English proves this rule. English orthography, while an alphabet, is a relatively opaque one. This is to say that there are often more than one sound for a symbol and more than one symbol for a sound, creating a level of ambiguity that makes it a poor choice to explain the sounds of various languages. George Bernard Shaw pokes fun at this ambiguity by suggesting that one could spell fish G-H-O-T-I, taking the f sound from the GH in rough, the I sound from the O in women, and the sh sound from the TI in nation. Alphabetic orthographies, no matter how simple the phoneme-grapheme correspondences, are not systems of transcription. Even the International Phonetic Alphabet adds characters over time. Finally, we have consonantal alphabetic systems. The basic functional units here are interpreted as speech segments, as with an alphabet, but the consonants in these systems are more consistently represented. The vowels are represented under certain conditions. Digraphs are sometimes used to mark the different vowels when necessary. So you might see a consonant with a little mark over top of it to indicate the vowel that comes next. But this is less consistent, both vowels are less consistently encoded than in alphabetic systems.